It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we're going to beer from Swansea, the Mumbles in Swansea. It's by the Pilot Brewery and it's a can of their Revolver Black Saison coming in 4% ABV. There's a look at the can. Some of you might remember that I brewed a beer in this particular series. It was called Revolver Saison. It was brewed about 18 months, nearly 2 years ago now with Richard at the Pilot Brewery. This is a 4% ABV beer and it's probably been, it's got a little bit of kind of roasted malt in it, I imagine, to make it black. It's got some Chinook and it's fermented with Saison yeast. Let's get it out into a glass and see what we get. Ooh, look at this. Lovely. Here we go, beer in the glass then. So be a bit careful with this one, I think. So it's created quite a big 4 to 5 finger tan coloured head. The beer in the glass is quite, it's jet black, a little bit of light bleeding through the bottom. It looks nice, but I mean, Belgian beers or Belgian Saison yeasts are notoriously a little bit more difficult to brew with. They're more lively. You don't really know the end result. I mean, this has been a Saison in a can. You don't see many of them. So I'm not going to be I'm not too bothered by this head, to be honest. It's an unpredictable yeast to brew with. Let's get the aroma. It smells pretty good. Quite a bit of roasted malt, to be honest. Chocolate, coffee, caramel. A little bit of raisin. You definitely get that Saison yeast. Dry, spicy, a little bit fruity. Horse blankety. Smells good. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh. Yeah, that's different. I like different. I've reviewed over 4,000 beers now and I like different. I like different things. This is very different. Lots of roasted malt. Bitter malt coming through, as well as some kind of bitter hops coming through on the back end. What did we say? What was the hop? Chinook. It's got quite a rounded mouthfeel for a 4% beer. Nicely carbonated, but it's got a mouthfeel of a stout. Chocolate, coffee, caramel flavours coming through. So it's a bit like, I don't know, they've called it a black Saison, but you could quite easily call this a Saison stout. You could get away with that, I mean, because of the amount of roasted malt in the beer. Nice levels of carbonation, pushes the beer on the inside of the mouth, releases more of that flavour. There is some tropical fruits coming through from the Chinook hop. It's grapefruity, it's citrusy, there's some peel in there. Orange peel, lemon peel. But for me, this beer is more about the caramel malt, the sweet caramel, the coffee, the chocolate, the caramel, the espresso flavours coming through. It's like some bitter chocolate and espresso coffee beans have been put into this beer. It is quite lively. Again, Saison yeast is quite unpredictable. In terms of the Saison yeast, thinking about the Saison yeast, let's see if we can pull some of that flavour now from the Saison. And yeah, the flavours are dominated by the roasted malt, and they always will. When you use roasted malt in a beer, they always will dominate flavour. In fact, when I do a beer review, if I do a couple of beer reviews in over the space of an hour, I will always leave the stout till the end. And yes, you do get the Saison yeast. It's horse blankety. There's some funky flavours coming through, but I'm saying that as somebody who has drunk a lot of beer and can pick out the Saison flavours in a beer. I think if you gave this beer to somebody who wasn't well acquainted to craft beer and real ale, should we say, they might be thinking more of, or who have tried a few and are just getting into it, they may say that this beer is more like a stout. And that's where I'm going to kind of push it. It's more of a stout Saison, which is, I mean, I like the fruity flavours on the back end. I like the plum, the fig, the prune. There's lots going on. There's biscuity bread, there's caramel notes, there's coffee and chocolate. It's a really nice beer. But I'd say it's pushing more to a Saison stout. Let's rate it. 4% ABV has created a fantastic head. It's easy drinking. How many cans of that could I drink? Probably 3 or 4. I like the beer. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10 from Reload Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom! And cheers.